Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So, I don't know if you knew this or not, but I'm basically a third-party reseller of online educational products. And one of the reasons why I feel like I believe in selling it is because of things that I see on the internet. So, right here it says 90% of millennials regret buying their first home, and this is a 2024 article, right? 90%. Like, if we had a 90%, I don't know, car crash rate, I feel like society would make laws to prevent people from driving cars. But when it comes to real estate, we just kind of go all in into it's kind of like a bad hangover. It feels kind of good. Everybody's congratulate you, and next day it's like, oh crap, what did I do? Right? 90%. Okay. Now, there's a lot of YouTube videos about this too. People know this. 90% regret buying their home. 90% it's over. 90% home buyers have regret. Why do they have regret? Right? It's because they didn't know how to buy it right and they didn't understand all the little nuances of home ownership. And that's why I believe in the educational products that I'm a reseller for, right? And if you take a look here, I'm gonna, some people ask me like, what makes you such a real estate expert? How many deals have you done? And first of all, there's a reason that I resell other people's products because I am not the expert, right? I am not the expert. But I'm going to show you other people who are experts who can teach you. Okay. But even though I've only purchased two properties and I've only been a homeowner since 2021, I can show you what I've done. Like here, I got the first home, I got $141,000 of equity. And then the second home, I have $231,000 of equity. And then in under 3 years, I got $372,000 of equity, right? Like 3 years. Think about it, like people get excited about a $30,000, $40,000 flip or a $50,000 flip. You gotta do about how much? More than six flips to make if you're assuming a $50,000 profit to get that kind of equity, right? So, like I don't know. I feel I really think about how the, average American, if this is their experience with real estate, unless they bought it like 30 years ago, right? If they bought it at, 2024, likelihood that they're just going to end up with statistic, and that's why I believe in the education that I resell, right? And there are a lot of disaster stories, and I'm just going to kind of give you some examples of people that I know or just some anecdotes, right? So one of the things I've done is I've tried to pitch this education to other people, especially friends and family. And friends and family are the ones who are the hardest for, at least for me, to reach out, right? Like I try to tell them about velocity banking goes out one year, out the other. Learning how to buy real estate discount goes up one year and out the other. So one of my friends, right? She bought a triplex in a big city and bought real estate in like 2023, I think. And she told me how much she hates being a landlord. and, and I try to picture the educational courses like learn how to buy it right, get it at a discount, um, do velocity banking, learn about seller financing. Nope, would not learn. In fact, when I told her about like what seller financing, she was like, "Why would I do that?" Right? But there's a saying that people who don't pay, they don't pay attention. And then one of the reasons why I learned all this is, to be honest, I actually spent 20 something grand on lifetime real estate education, believe it or not. And so, think about this. My experience in being a landlord is completely passive, but my friend's experience is completely active in the sense that the tenants are always demanding stuff from her. And there's probably a reason why that previous landlord sold the property, probably because the tenants sucked, right? And if you own a building in a big city, it's probably not going to be landlord friendly. You know what I mean? Like you own an apartment in Los Angeles, probably bad times coming for you ahead if you have any conflicts with your tenants. This is why um, when I became a rental property owner, I definitely did not want to do it in the city of Atlanta. I was like, I'm getting away from the city of Atlanta, but I just want a place that's nice, has some population, but definitely not the city of Atlanta, right? So as you can see, my friend kind of paid the price. And I'm not going to say she would have done it well if she'd taken the education that I was trying to pitch to her. But man, like I was like so surprised when she bought a triplex and she said, "I hate this so much." She didn't want to learn, right? Now here's another thing. I have a colleague, right? I kind of think of him as an older brother because he's kind of like my older brother's age, and he found a 55 unit apartment that was owned by a doctor, right? The doctor, I'm pretty sure, he wanted to dabble or do real estate and he bought a 55 unit apartment and had fights with the property management company and they all screwed it up. And so that building was in pretty terrible shape. Okay. They had an appraisal done about 2 years ago and it was apparently worth $2 million, right? But because it was in such bad shape, that doctor let my colleague buy that 55 unit apartment building with no money down and essentially had a $1 million loss. Like, no money down. And here's the thing, a lot of people object to, like, oh, pay 20 grand for lifetime real estate investing education, like lifetime, literally for life, right? Why would you do that when you could take the 20 grand and put it into a down payment for your rental property? Well, I'll tell you why. Because you might be a doctor with a lot of money who just wants to get into real estate and then have to have a property management company that mismanages your real estate because you don't know what you're doing and sell it for a $1 million loss. Now, here's the cool thing about real estate: other people's disasters can be your big opportunity, right? And I don't wish bad things upon anyone, but what if that doctor had just learned all the things that we kind of go over here in this channel, right? But there's so many things and nuances that you have to learn. Now, here's the funny thing about being an adult, and I say this in the other videos, is that in as an adult, there's no congratulations for success, only punishment for failure, right? And so sometimes it's hard to see that you're taking the right path because nobody will congratulate you. So when I told people, "Oh yeah, I paid, 20, 30 grand for real estate education for lifetime," I've been made fun of. But who's the one with $372,000 of equity under 2 years or 3 years? And this was completely passive. And I didn't even do anything, right? Now, one thing I also want to mention is that because I had learned velocity banking a long, long time ago, doing this stuff where it's like, oh, paycheck into line of credit, expenses out, maximize cash flow, it came easy for me to do it, right? Like really easy. Like, because I was able to absorb that information at a time when no one else was learning it. Right? So here's the thing. What is the point of this video? Right? Like, let's be honest. A lot of people are, for whatever reason, think that home ownership is this really, really easy thing. And if you could just pay for any home, you'll somehow make money, right? And what I'm trying to say is that there's what George W. Bush used to call strategery in purchasing a home, right? You need to know the strategery, right? And so my main point is that if you just buy any old property, it's just going to be end up in a disaster. And that's why you probably shouldn't buy real estate without any education. Now, I'm not saying that there are not successful people who don't, who've never taken classes and did well. What I'm just saying is that real estate in general has a very high failure rate, and it's okay to pay other people for their knowledge, right? Like, it's okay to do that. Like, I have no actual interest in real estate, and maybe that's why I felt okay to pay other people because I don't care about it, right? But if someone told me, like, hey, this is an easy way to create wealth if you know how to do it right. I mean, it's actually simple, but it's not easy. So let's actually rephrase that. Then I was like, yeah, dude, I'll definitely pay if there's any value in what you have to offer me, right? But yeah, for most people, and I don't know if you know this, if you ever apply for business credit, right? I'm not saying that you should lie or anything like that. You definitely should not lie to the banks. But if you ever apply for business credit and you put in your classification that you're a real estate investor, they see you as a risk, not because they keep track of lots of statistics about businesses, and real estate investing has a very high failure rate, right? Very high failure rate. So just be aware of that. All right. So probably next video, I have to I'm going to ask if I can show these pictures of that 55 unit apartment building that my colleague picked up for like no money down because it's pretty disgusting. It's pretty disgusting, but disgusting building is built disgusting is where the opportunity lies if you're a real estate investor. It really is. Because that's where you can add the value add. Like if you buy anything at market value, 89% of the time you can't make money. Okay. All right. Well, this is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So just another pitch for education. Learn how to do things right. But I know a lot of people reject my offer, but it's okay because same thing with real estate investing. 90 to 95% of the homes out there are not for us. It's that distressed market. That 5% that we're looking for. Same thing with like educational services. 90 to 95% of people will reject our offer, but we're looking for that self motivated person who understands what it is that we're offering. Okay, and I'm going to put more information about that later. All right, well, have a great day, everybody, and we'll speak next time.